Yo, I just wrote this new book, How to Rob the Bank Legally.
A 14-step guide to getting in the real estate game, deluxe edition, by Brandon Gardner, narrated by Garen Patrick. Step 1. Determine what type of real estate investor you want to be. Real estate is one of the oldest as well as the most popular asset classes in the world. Buying investment properties is just the beginning. In fact, there is far more to real estate than creating cash flow, much more than most people have tapped into. Many real estate investors today practice only one type of real estate investment, and while it may be easy to identify an investor who has made a fortune from real estate, there are also many who we do not know. There are different types of real estate investment strategies, each with its pros and cons. Hence, the first step is to identify what type or types is best for you. Before diving into the types of investors, let's look quickly at what is a real estate investor. I say what because real estate investors are not only a person, but can also be entities. At its simplest, a real estate investor is an investor who intentionally chooses to add real estate assets to their portfolio. Conventionally, there are 4 types of real estate investors: the REIT investor, wholesale investor, buy and flip investor, and then my favorite, the buy and hold investor. While each type of investment is different, they have all been proven to be successful. Real Estate Investment Trusts, REIT. Real Estate Investment Trust, REIT, forms a collection of real estate assets. It allows real estate investors to become shareholders, earning a share of the combined profits. This type of real estate investment is similar to the stock market, where you purchase shares and receive dividends when profits are paid out. For example, you invest in an REIT, and included in the REIT's asset portfolio are several apartment buildings managed by the property development company that oversees the trust. The money you invest is used to finance the apartment buildings as well as the operations, and you are paid dividends whenever there is a payout. Depending on the particular REIT's standards, dividend payments can be between 4% up to 15%, or even 20%. Typically, there's not much movement from a price standpoint. However, dividend rates can change, just like in the stock market. This investment strategy allows the investor to earn interest on their investment as a shareholder without physically owning the real estate asset. On the other hand, the investor will not be directly accumulating any appreciation. Nonetheless, the investor will own shares in the asset class and will be collecting cash flow. Wholesale investing. Wholesale investing is a way people can invest in real estate with little to no money down. This method of investing specializes in finding motivated sellers of undervalued properties. These sellers can be found through advertising online via social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Google advertisements. Once the wholesaler and the motivated seller agree on a purchase price, an agreement of sale, AOS, is executed between the seller and the wholesaler. Typically, in the AOS, the wholesaler will mention the purchaser of the property as their LLC, such as ABC LLC, and/or assigns. The reason the and/or assigns is added after the name of the wholesaler is because this will allow the transferring of the contract to another person or entity. The wholesaler will find a buyer, typically an investor, for the property at a higher price than the current contracted price between the seller and the wholesaler. Essentially, there will be 2 agreements, the seller and the wholesaler, and the other between the wholesaler and the actual buyer. For example, Mr. Smith is a retired landlord looking to sell his dated rental unit at 123 Broad Street. Mr. Flip found Mr. Street through one of his advertisements on Facebook. Mr. Flip and Mr. Smith came to an agreement of $25,000 for the purchase of Mr. Smith's property. Mr. Flip then markets the property to potential investors with an asking price of $40,000. Mr. Hold is an investor who wants to buy the property for $30,000. Mr. Flip and Mr. Hold agreed on $35,000 as the purchase price of 123 Broad Street. The day of closing, Mr. Hold will pay $35,000 for the property. Of the $35,000, Mr. Flip will receive $10,000 and Mr. Smith will receive $25,000. Mr. Flip made money by being the middleman in the deal. Buy, fix, and flip. In this type of real estate investment, the investor buys an undervalued property, fixes it, and sells it for a price that competitively exceeds the investment. Since the investor hopes to profit through resale, the property has to be renovated and priced similarly as comparatives in the same area. Let's see how it works. For example, there is a property worth $100,000, and you could purchase the property for $50,000. An additional $80,000 is invested into the property to make it market ready. The property is fixed to match the comparatives in the area, without going below or too far above. The property is then sold for $205,000, which means you have made a gross profit of $75,000. After realtor fees and taxes, etc., the balance is yours to keep to reinvest or pocket. Either way, you have created cash flow for yourself. Proud. The benefits of following the fix and flip strategy are: it is a short-term investment strategy. You could see returns in a few months. It has the potential for high returns. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. While this strategy can yield quick and high returns, the investor runs the risk of over-improving the property. That can result in a total loss or lower profits than anticipated. This strategy is excellent for persons who can do the work themselves, such as contractors and developers. That allows them the benefit of higher returns, since they are subsidizing the labor. Buy and hold. Buy and hold investing is perhaps the most popular and more conventional way to invest in real estate. At its simplest, this is where you buy a property and rent it for a monthly income. Following the buy and hold strategy has its perks. The primary benefit of using this strategy is that you have the opportunity to achieve relatively consistent returns. In this case, steady cash flow is almost guaranteed, through rental income coming in every month. Break even. A break-even in investment is when the investor makes or receives all the amount initially invested. Break-even periods vary from investment to investment. In this investment strategy, break-even could take a year, 2 years, even 3 years. That is dependent on the deals made in acquiring the property and renting the property. The buy and hold strategy is popular because you will continue to get paid for your efforts for a lifetime, instead of just one time. As the saying goes, you are only as good as your last flip. This means that to keep money coming in, another deal would have to be found and executed. I prefer to get paid at every part of the process when it comes to buy and hold investing, and appreciate that in 30 years, the property will be completely paid off. Imagine the possibilities available if you owned a property valued at $1 million. After 30 years or sooner, the mortgage on the property could be paid off by the tenants. At this time, you have a decision to make. You can sell the property for $1 million. This option will cut off your income stream, and you would have to pay a substantial amount in taxes on the capital gains. Another option after paying off the property would be to keep the property and continue to collect rent. This will allow more rental cash flow since the principal and interest payments come with the mortgage that no longer exist. An additional option, which I recommend, would be to refinance up to 75% of the property's value and continue to rent it to a tenant. If you were to refinance the property and do what we call a cash-out refinance, you would receive a lump sum of tax-free cash of $750,000, 75% of $1 million. The property would continue to provide cash flow every month, as well as you would have $750,000 that you can use as you please. I recommend acquiring more assets with cash, but the choice is yours. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. The primary aim of the game is to create a steady cash flow. Revenue, rent, minus monthly expenses, mortgage, insurance, taxes, maintenance, equals cash flow. Cash flow is a simple yet powerful equation. The amount of revenue less monthly expenses equals cash flow. In this case, the revenue is the rent. Monthly expenses included mortgage payments, your principal and interest, monthly insurance payment, any monthly property maintenance cost. Additionally, vacancy periods must be accounted for. Vacancy here is any period the property is not rented. Vacancy periods would typically be between 5% to 15% of total monthly revenue. By factoring in vacancy periods into the equation, the investor would have a more realistic monthly cash flow number. For many persons, buy and hold investing is the preferred way to invest. If you choose to become this type of investor, you would have created cash flow through rent collections. You will be able to see a clear path to your returns based on your cash flow equation. You will get back your initial investment, break even. Once you pass that break even point, you get to collect all profitable returns on your investment, pure cash flow. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. BRRRR. First, let me say that this is an approach I have come to appreciate. It is one of the fastest ways to grow your portfolio overnight. Additionally, this strategy is one of the best ways to invest in undervalued assets and still make a surplus to put back into your pocket. The BRRRR approach involves acquiring and renovating the undervalued property, securing stable tenant arrangements, refinancing, then repeating this process over and over and over again. Refinancing, in this case, would be putting a long-term mortgage on the property. Let's break this down. For example, there's a property worth $100,000, and you can purchase the property for $20,000. The property only needs $20,000 worth of renovation work, so you're all in at $40,000 for this property. But it's worth $100,000. So you quickly renovate and rent the property. Once the property is stabilized, rented, now you can refinance into a long-term mortgage. Whenever you decide to put a long-term mortgage on this property, we say you have done a cash-out refinance if you have run your numbers correctly. Let's say you decide to refinance the property at 75%, which means that you will be taking on a mortgage of 75% of the property's value. That puts $75,000 in your hand. Remember, you went all in at $40,000. Therefore, you have a cash surplus of $35,000. $75,000 minus $40,000. Guess where the extra $35,000 goes? It goes into your pocket. Did I mention this surplus is tax-free because it comes from a loan? By using the BRRRR, or buy and hold strategy, you would have created cash flow through rent collections. You would get back your initial investment, break even. You immediately make a surplus to put back into your pocket. Black Jew 182 pro tip. The aim of the game is to make sure that you buy these properties using the 65% rule. The 65% says that your purchase and rehab cost should not exceed 65% of the property's value. Therefore, if you are using a rehab refinance loan, you will arrive at the closing table with zero cash down. This rule will help you analyze the deal so you can identify if you will get back your initial investment when you do a cash-out refinance. Following the buy, fix, and flip strategy, after you invest time, energy, and money, you get paid only once. On the other hand, with the BRRRR and the buy and hold strategy, your investment keeps on giving. That single effort generates a monthly cash flow for your lifetime. Additionally, it is also an asset you can pass down from generation to generation. Make sure you start at step 1 and decide what type of investor you are. REITs, buy and hold, buy, fix, and hold, buy, fix, and flip, BRRRR. Belief in oneself and knowing who you are, that's the foundation for everything great. Jay-Z. Step 2. Identify the type of properties you want to invest in. Deciding what type of property you want to invest in is a personal preference with business impact. Some persons choose the type of property based on their personal preference or knowledge and background. Below are several different types of properties that you could acquire. Single-family investment property. A single-family home is what most of us grew up in and are used to. A single-family investment property is real estate bought to be rented or sold to a single tenant or buyer for cash flow or profit. It requires a smaller initial investment and is more liquid than a multiplex family property. This type of property often appeals to first-time homebuyers and families looking to buy. So, Finding a tenant for a single-family property is always easy. What is more impressive is that, should you choose to sell, there is always a first-time homebuyer ready to purchase. Pros of single-family investing: less expensive upfront, high demand, low tenant turnover, easier for beginners, many exit strategies. Cons for single-family investing: slower growth. Repairs only add value to one unit. The vacancy would require you to cover the monthly expense out of pocket. Less scalability, more competition. Multifamily investment property. Investors can also choose to focus on multifamily properties. These are properties with 2 to 4 units. A 2-unit building is called a duplex, a 3-unit building is called a triplex, and a 4-unit building is called a quadplex. A fantastic aspect of investing in a multifamily property is being paid every month by more than one person. So, if for any reason one unit is vacant, there is still cash flow coming in to cover part or all of the monthly mortgage cost. Multifamily property owners tend to receive a little more from a revenue standpoint, simply because they're renting out more units. However, the owner sometimes covers some standard utilities, such as a common light bill, common water, and sewer. These expenses can be easily dispersed to each unit. Pros of multifamily investing: greater cash flow potential. Values tend to appreciate over long term. Lower risk. People need a place to live. Faster scalability. Cons of multifamily investing: more regulations, more expensive than single family, more management of multiple tenants, i.e., noise issues, trash management, etc. Common areas additional expense, lighting and upkeep expenses. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip: I like to allocate a flat $50 fee for the water and spread it amongst all the tenants. Oftentimes, there is only one meter in a multifamily building, which means one bill. Another option would be to submeter the water meters so tenants pay for the exact water they use. There will be some upfront cost. However, you will increase your cash flow going forward. Commercial mixed-use investment property. A commercial mixed-use investment property is a property used for commercial and residential use, which operates to generate cash flow/profit. For example, commercial mixed-use investment property could be a grocery store on the first floor and 4 apartment units above. It could also be a mix of offices and apartments. Additionally, you could purchase a building, live on the top floor, and run your business on the ground floor. Commercial mixed-use investment properties often boast high cash flows when the property supplies customers for the business. They provide 2 streams of income, with the possibility for an increase in cash flow as the business grows. Options to finance your investment decision. There are several different ways to go about the acquisition of these types of properties. There is something called a 203K Federal Housing Administration (FHA) loan. According to www.hud.gov, Section 203K insurance enables homebuyers and homeowners to finance the purchase or refinancing of a house and the cost of its rehabilitation through a single mortgage, or to finance the rehabilitation of their existing home. That is an excellent option for single-family, small multifamily properties, 2 to 4 units, and even small commercial use buildings. A fantastic feature of the 203K is that the rehabilitation cost can be included in the loan if you find something that needs work. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip: once you find a way to live for free, it allows you to focus on growing your wealth in other ways. Another way to finance a property's purchase is with a Federal Housing Administration (FHA) loan. To access this loan, you will need about 3.5% of the cost as a down payment. The FHA loan is a great way to acquire a single-family home, as well as a multifamily property. I have used the FHA program to purchase a single-family 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house where I did some house hacking. I tenanted all 4 bedrooms and collected a handsome cash flow every month. I lived in the garage to save money to put toward more investments. Here are the FHA requirements. FICO credit score must be 580 or higher for 3.5% down. FICO credit score between 500 to 579 requires 10% down. Mortgage insurance premium is required, 1.75% of the purchase price, which can be rolled into the total loan amount, in addition to monthly MIP, which is 0.85% of the loan amount divided by 12. This is insurance the government uses to protect them against a possible default. Debt-to-income ratio less than 43%, i.e. DTI equals total monthly debt, total income. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Property purchased using the FHA or 203K FHA program will require you to live in the property for at least a year, and the property must be bought in your personal name. If your situation changes, you may get another one. Some examples of situation changes are married, family expansion, job relocation, etc. Conventional financing. Once you have used your FHA financing, 3.5 to 5% down, next you will more than likely use a conventional bank or an online lender to fund your next deal using 10 to 25% down. These deals would be turnkey, requiring little to no work. Putting up to 25% on each purchase makes scaling a challenge because you eventually have to wait for your capital to build back up to buy another deal. Once you are ready, you can take on value-added projects that require renovations. Some renovations are more involved than others. The main idea is to find a property that is undervalued, add value by making it similar to what properties are selling for in the neighborhood, rent the property, and then do a cash-out refinance to get your initial capital back. A buy and rehab loan, which covers most of the purchase price and most, if not all, of the construction cost, would need to be obtained. Community bank loans, hard money lenders, and online lenders are great resources for getting these loans. Hard money and online lenders are currently lending mainly based on the property's value, as well as when it is fixed up, your credit, and the ability to pay back the money that has been borrowed. Commercial residential investment property. Commercial residential investment property comprises 5 to 200 plus residential units. The valuation of commercial buildings is based on cap rates and the net operating income of the property. Net operating income, NOI, is all revenue collected from the real estate property minus normal operating expenses, consisting of taxes, insurance, property management, repair cost, and legal fees. Please note, the mortgage principal and interest payments are not in this calculation. The reason is that the numbers can vary depending on the loan product and would be more of a challenge to compare versus other investments. NOI equals revenue minus taxes, insurance, property management, repair cost, legal fees. One of the main questions when looking at the value of a commercial property is the following. Value equals net operating income, cap rate. Also, cap rate equals NOI, value. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. In commercial real estate, the value of the property can be increased by increasing the revenue through rents and/or decreasing expenses. Those are the top real estate investment options. Others, which are not so popular, are commercial buildings, retail buildings, offices, restaurants, etc. Think about the type of properties you are most comfortable with to start your real estate investment portfolio. Once you have done that, conduct your research to learn as much as you can about the type of property. Then, find your market. That takes us straight into Step 3. Step 3. Decide the location or locations where you want to invest. Many investors prefer to keep their investments in a specific location or city. Pause and think about it for a moment. Where would you want to invest or own property? City, suburbs, rural. Any of the above could be in a city, the suburbs, or a rural area. Neither of them is excluded from affording you an excellent investment experience. So, as you identify the best physical location, you need to decide if you prefer the city, the suburbs, or the rural area. About 98% of my investment properties are located in the city. The city is very compact and a little more congested than in the suburbs in the rural area. I chose to invest in the city because of the amenities that the city provided. I also invested in the suburbs, but my decision was primarily based on the local amenities. Therefore, when choosing your area, it is essential to look at the following. What is the job market like? What are some of the local amenities? Are there hospitals nearby? Are there universities nearby? How do people get around? Do they only use cars? Do they use buses? If the population is heavily dependent on buses, now you might need to find properties located near the bus route. Do people go out to play? Are there any parks? Parks are a primary feature of city and suburb housing investments. The location of parks will significantly increase the demand for your property. Are there many restaurants? Do the people there go to eat a lot? All is not vested in the local amenities. However, they play a significant role in your property's demand. The higher the demand, the higher rent or selling price you can charge. For example, people love going to the park to have a picnic. People love going to the park to read, relax, and play sports. What better way to tire your kids out than going right to the parks? The above are just some local amenities to look at when selecting the area you want to invest in. As you research and analyze the area, you will also identify other amenities and their relevance to the renter or buyer you are targeting. Every investment aims to create cash flow numbers that make sense. You can make money anywhere across the country, but where you invest must fit into your investment strategy, 100%. Sometimes that place is your local area, out of town, an area you are familiar with, and of course, you have to go where the deals are. It hardly matters where you physically invest. All you need is the skill to find the deals and analyze them. Number 1, your local area. Your area is like your backyard, a space you know very well. That could be within a 1 to 8 mile radius of where you live, primarily where you travel, work, play, and recreate. You also can easily tell what would be a plus for your prospective tenants. Number 2, out of town. Sometimes an area or property out of town best fits into your investment strategy. Once it fits, go right ahead and take the plunge. Number 3, familiarity. Your familiarity with a specific area can be a helpful advantage. These could be areas you have lived in or family members lived in. It could be an area where you went to college or where you grew up. These are places you could consider to identify an investment property. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Reach out to the Department of Community Development in the city you are looking to invest in. See what the 5-year plan is for the community, new jobs, incentives to invest in the area, as well as population growth. The neighborhood. An area can have countless neighborhoods, and every neighborhood is unique. Looking at the neighborhood is also important for your analysis. Is it an A, B, or C class property? A-class properties are high-end properties at the top end of the market. These are typically new construction properties that have been built within the last 10 years. A-class properties will attract white-collar workers, such as doctors, lawyers, making an above-average monthly income. B-class properties are properties constructed within the last 20 years and have a mix of white-collar workers and blue-collar workers, the service guys. Then, as you start to work your way down the alphabet, you're going to have C-class properties. C-class properties are a mix of blue-collar workers as well as some low-income workers. The C-class carries a sweet spot. That is where you can see the most cash flow. You get an opportunity to take advantage of the government subsidies available, such as Section 8, homeless housing placement programs, and housing for veterans, etc. Government subsidizing for housing is also available in the A and B classes. However, while the rent may be higher for the A and B classes, the margins are slimmer when compared to the C market. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Government programs base their rental payment amounts on the fair market rental value or specific zip codes throughout the U.S. Look at the following link to see what rents are in your desired location. D-class properties are located in the least desirable section of town. These properties are often not maintained, has heavy crime, rodent infestation, and drug infestation. These properties are sometimes an eyesore. Ironically, this can be very attractive in real estate investing. Depending on the tier you want to invest at, it is crucial to look at the following. The median income of this particular area. What is the average monthly salary for persons in that area? What is the industry makeup in terms of their jobs? Is it more blue-collar workers in this particular area, or is it more white-collar workers? For every point of reference, you should look at the bigger picture, so you can determine where best to invest. Now, let's head over to Step 4. Step 4. Get your band together. Teamwork makes the dream work. You can't go into this alone. You have to build a solid team to have a strong, successful real estate business. There are some primary things that we need in this business. I have classified them into 3 categories: acquisitions team, construction team, and property management team. These 3 buckets will make you very successful because 1, you need to find a deal, 2, you have to put the deal together in terms of construction, and 3, you need efficient property management. Acquisition team. On your acquisition team, you need the following: realtors. These are licensed professionals whose sole job is to buy, rent, and sell properties, and they can help you with these actions. A great way to get access to a collection of realtors is through realtors.com. Search the area you're looking to invest in and zero in on a collection of realtors. Make contact with them via phone or email. Tell them what you are looking for. Remember, we just looked at what type of investor you want to be and what areas you want to invest in. You. Hey, I'm looking to find properties that are undervalued, that I can add value to, and rent. Send me what you have. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Go to www.realtor.com to search for realtors in your desired zip code. There, you can get the stats on each realtor. Wholesaler. An excellent member to have on the acquisition team is a wholesaler. A wholesaler is simply someone good at finding a motivated seller. They get the deal under contract with an agreement of sale, and then they market that contract to an investor for a higher price. For example, a wholesaler locks up a property, getting it under contract at $10,000. Then they have a contract for sale at $15,000. Then, as an investor, I immediately communicate my interest to purchase the property for $15,000. When we get to the closing table to do the transaction, the wholesaler will get $5,000, and the motivated seller of that property will get $10,000. Everyone walks away happy. Win, win, win. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. You can find wholesalers on Craigslist, Facebook real estate groups, REO meetups, as well as street signs advertising "We buy houses." Bird dogs. Bird dogs are people in a neighborhood you have talked to about finding houses for you. You can also put an ad on Craigslist, indicating that you are looking for some people to find properties that need work and have a motivated seller. You can offer payment from anywhere between $500 to $1,000 to the bird dog for every property you close on. If you had 10 bird dogs who each bring you 1 deal a year, that is 10 potential opportunities for you to make money. That is also a service you do not have to pay a large fee to acquire. From a marketing standpoint, that is a low acquisition fee. You can simply go right on Craigslist and send out a job description saying you're looking for bird dogs, part-time, and they'll get paid for every deal you end up closing on. So, that's the beautiful thing. You have free labor out there. Collection of lenders. These include small banks, credit unions, and hard money lenders. As a real estate investor, you must be comfortable specializing and using OPM, other people's money. Do not try to build your empire using all cash. Title company. Having a title company on your team provides invaluable benefits. Going through a title company to make the purchase is critical because they can ensure that the transaction goes through without hiccups or future title issues. Title companies also provide title insurance. They do the due diligence for you, ensuring that the title is clean. They check to ensure there are no judgments or liens on that property. Therefore, when you purchase the property, your ownership cannot be challenged. Having a relationship with your title company means you can place a query at any time about the title of a property you are scouting. Appraisers. Appraisers determine the market value of a given property. As you go through the purchasing and refinancing process, you must build your appraiser's contact list. They will prove the value of having a professional relationship with them when it's time to appraise your property for refinancing. To make the appraisal process easy, create a valuation form for a property that you have renovated. Give that form to your appraiser when your property is going to be appraised. Legal support. Always secure legal support for the acquisition stage. If you need help with the documents or eviction, they are readily available. Having an excellent legal team in the acquisition, construction, and property management stages of your investment is always a valuable addition. Construction team. Naturally, if you are fixing and holding or fixing and flipping, you need to have a construction team. Without compromise, every renovation projection requires a general contractor. The general contractor is responsible for overseeing all aspects of the physical property renovation. Therefore, your first order of business is to establish if you are going to be the general contractor or if you are going to hire a general contractor. When you purchase a fixer property, the two most important things you need to secure are labor and supplies. The best quality at a great price. If you want to have more control over your project, you can choose to be the general contractor. Note, should you need to be the general contractor, you will need a collection of subcontractors. Subcontractors. A subcontractor is a specialized contractor who performs a specific construction task. These include tasks such as electrical, framing, carpentry or window installation, kitchen installation, HVAC and heating installation, plumbing, foundation, drywalling, masonry, concrete work, flooring, roofing, exterior siding, etc. Note, you may find a subcontractor who specializes in multiple related tasks. For example, the person who does framing also does drywalling and siding. I would recommend that you have at least 3 of each. That helps to maintain honesty and will dissuade them from overpricing their services. You will be better able to analyze the rate realistically, so you can choose the highest quality work for the best price. Supply houses. The next set of persons you want to build a relationship with are supply houses. These are the entities from which you can get your supplies, best quality at the best price. For example, for plumbing, I go to www.supplyhouse.com. For lumber, I go to Tag Lumber or Lumber 84. So, make sure you build your list of reliable supply houses and form those business relationships. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Supply houses are great resources for referrals for subcontractors to add to your team. City inspectors. This does not mean that only properties in the city get inspected. The city here means the state or locale's administration. This administration ensures that all buildings meet the respective zoning and building regulations for that particular city or area. That is enforced through a team of city inspectors. Here, having a healthy relationship with several city inspectors becomes very important. As real estate investors, inspectors are our friends. They need you as much as you need them, so there is no harm in creating a healthy relationship. Inspectors help to protect your investment and ensure your work is completed correctly. They are that extra pair of eyes and ears, especially when you've hired subcontractors. This way, the subcontractor must pass city inspections to get advanced payments. Without a doubt, it is a benefit to forge healthy relationships with your city inspectors. Make sure you have their phone and email contact. The city inspector's primary concern is that you finish your project as safely and efficiently as possible. Architects and engineers. If you're doing a remodel or new construction property, you need some architects on your team to draw the floor plans and layouts. Remember, the city or county will require copies of the plans to approve you for a building permit. The engineers on your team will provide support on matters of structural concern. Should there be any structural issues on a particular property, the engineer can give you a structural report mentioning the items that need attention. When you have corrected the issue, they will also generate another report for you. Some counties will give you a building permit based on the engineer report. For example, you have a typical single-family house, and you don't want to hire an architect to do the drawings. In that case, an engineer could visit the property and give you a letter stating that you are doing an interior renovation that is non-structural. This will help you bypass waiting for your building plans being reviewed, which may take weeks. Legal support. Again, ensure you have a legal team included in your construction division. This team will help you draft your general contracting contracts and contracts with subcontractors. Should you have any construction-related issues, your legal team helps to protect you. Property management team. Property management related to real estate investment is the operational control and oversight of real estate property as a business. Property management companies could charge anywhere between 7 to 10% of the revenue for the services they provide. Should you choose to hire a property management company, they will more than likely offer to do the following: fill all unit vacancies, collect rent or lease fees, carry out maintenance issues, which they often subcontract to a service provider. In-house property management. As your real estate investment portfolio grows, you may choose to handle your property management. That would save you that 10% fee, if you will. When I first started, I ran from door to door, addressing every issue a tenant had. Now, there is a more innovative way. Here are 2 ways you can go about managing your properties for a fraction of the price. Virtual assistant. A virtual assistant, VA, is someone who remotely provides assistant or administrative services. Your VA will be your virtual property manager, monitoring your virtual property software account. Here is how to set up your virtual property management system. Set up an account on one of the available virtual property management software, such as www.cozy.com, learn.appfolio.com, www.buildium.com. Hire a virtual assistant from anywhere in the world, Philippines, etc., for $3 to $6 per hour. Orientate your virtual assistant, VA, on the use of the software you chose. Your VA should learn how to use the software to update your property data, collect rent, communicate with tenants, accept and dispatch maintenance services. The tenant will also be able to access and use the software to make maintenance requests as well. For example, instead of the tenant calling via phone, the tenant sends a text or email regarding their concern, complaint, or maintenance request. That information is routed to the software, and the VA is notified or pinged. Using your contacts list, the VA dispatches the available service provider, confirms that the work is completed, and issues payment after receiving an invoice. Therefore, if there is a plumbing issue, the VA would contact the 3 plumbers on your list and dispatch the person who can fix the issue in the shortest time. The same steps would be applied if there were an electrical or roofing issue. The VA also checks if all rent payments are made and sends notices of late payments when necessary. The VA corresponds with tenants and informs them of any activity or service works to be done at the property. Handyman. In a handyman situation, you are the VA, and you have a selection of skilled persons known to carry out maintenance and repairs on your properties. These persons include an electrician, plumber, carpenter, etc. Insurance carrier. Always, always, always get property insurance. I would recommend that you get what we call an umbrella policy, in addition to property insurance. An umbrella policy is a type of insurance designed to give an additional layer of liability coverage to another insurance policy. This type of policy can cost between $10 to $40 a month and can cover all your businesses in real estate, wherever they are located. For every property, you're already going to have liability coverage, and let's say that liability coverage is $500,000. Still, for whatever reason, something happens on that property where it exceeds $500,000. That's when the umbrella policy covers the rest. The best arrangement is to have the umbrella policy limit equal to the value of the asset. Legal support. Again and again, always have legal support in place. It is always wise to have legal support to call on should any legal issues arise. So, there you have it. Remember, you can't do it alone. Let your team help you get there. Every great person educates themselves. Nas. Step 5. Get in the field and find your deal. How important is it to find a deal? Without a deal, we have no investment property. Without the investment, we have no cash flow. Without cash flow, wealth is not created. Finding your deal is the fuel for your wealth. Wealth is not achieved overnight. Likewise, being great at finding deals takes time, practice, and patience. Here are some methods I recommend that you use to find deals. Networking with wholesalers. A wholesaler is someone who finds excellent real estate deals and sells them to a real estate investor. Wholesalers can be found on online platforms such as www.craigslist.com, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Search for Wholesalers Investment Properties on Facebook. Sending direct mail. Direct mail is a type of direct marketing where mail is delivered to the prospect's physical mailbox. In this case, your mail would be delivered to a motivated seller's physical mailbox. The direct mail response rate is about 1%, if that much. Therefore, if you direct mailed 100 letters, only one person will respond. Direct mail can be on the pricey side due to postage costs. The risk with direct mail is that you cannot tell how many of those letters will reach the right person. Route mail. Route mail is done by the Postal Service. It allows you to put together a flyer ad for distribution on a specific route. The cost is lower than stamps on envelopes. In fact, whenever you include a flyer ad within their route, the cost is pennies on a dollar because you are not paying for postage. For example, when you hand over 5,000 flyers for a specific route covering the neighborhood you are targeting, each flyer is dropped right at each mailbox. Door hangers. This is a strategy I often use. A door hanger is a flyer that can hang around the doorknob of a prospect's front door. Being that it is around the doorknob, they can't help but look at it because, at the very least, they can't enter their home without touching it. Door hangers can be effective. They grab attention and interest if done the right way, especially if you have someone that goes in the neighborhood and puts the door hangers on the doors. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. You can hire the pizza flyer guy to pass out your door hangers for $40 to $60 per 500 to 1,000 units. Social media. If you are on social media, use that platform to let everyone know that you are a real estate investor. Be clear on your interest in purchasing an investment property. If you do not share this information, no one will know you are interested, and no one will share deals with you. When you decide to share that information with social media, be specific. Be clear about what areas you are interested in and what type of property you are looking for. Network with other real estate investors. Remember, I mentioned that you could not do it alone. While you may not have other investors directly on your team, networking with others in the business will help you to succeed. For example, if you become friends with other real estate investors, you will have more eyes and ears on the ground. They will share their wisdom and inside scoop on deals and other cash flow opportunities. You can also introduce them to deals and receive a finder's fee as well. Or, if you're urgently in need of an electrician, you can ask that friend to recommend or provide an electrician for you. More times than none, that friend and real estate investor will be able to help. Hire bird dogs. As mentioned in Step 4, bird dogs can help you find the deals you are looking for. You would offer a payout to the bird dog after the deal is closed. Black Jew 182 Pro Tip. Use your subcontractors as bird dogs. Oftentimes, they may come across worn-out landlords or property owners. Give them a nice finder fee on the deals that you close. Exclusive bonus for those tuning in to the 14 steps to buying your first or next investment property. There is a site called www.propstream.com. PropStream is a vast database that details all the information you need on a property. It allows you to do specific searches from the specific area, vacant or not, and if the owner is from town or out of town. For example, you visit propstream.com and you begin your search for a vacant house in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. You want an owner who has had that property for over 5 years. From the options, you select high equity in the property. You also request that the owner is out of town. Now, why are these specifications necessary? They are essential because the information will form the basis of your conversation with the owner. Whatever information propstream.com gives you, use it to get your deal. So, after you have completed your search, you will contact the owner who lives out of town and say, "I noticed you have a vacant property in my area. I am interested, but I see you are out of state. Do you have any interest in selling?" I am looking to buy a couple of properties and believe that investing in your area could help the neighborhood. If they're motivated, they'll say yes. At the very least, you would have created a potential lead. Sometimes you even get to call the price on the property, especially if they got it free. In fact, most out-of-town owners became owners through family death or transfer. Your search gave you access to the prospect, but that's not all. You can also complete the entire sales process electronically. You can conduct negotiations, send and finalize a contract electronically. Another impressive PropStream feature is skip tracing. Skip tracing allows you to generate a list of all the names and property addresses listed in your search results. You can hire someone on Fiverr to complete your skip tracing listing for you. You would visit www.fiverr.com and search for skip tracing. You can choose from a list of people who offer to update your list at an affordable cost. They will update your list with a telephone number, cell phone number, and email address for each person on the list. Once you have that information, you can either call or email your prospect. However, the best method of contact is said to be via text messaging. Your text message would say something like this: "Hello, I noticed that you own this property at ... I'm looking to purchase a property in that area. Would you have any interest in selling?" Have a look at PropStream, and you will be glad you did. Your PropStream membership will be about $97 monthly, and you can cancel at any time. However, if you are going into acquisition mode and want to focus on motivated sellers, bypass the middle, go straight to www.propstream.com. Now, that's a bonus indeed.
This is what y'all missing out on not being at this event, man. My book's called How to Rob the Bank Legally. So you can say the title again. My book is called How to Rob the Bank Legally. So this book takes you step by step on how to purchase, finance, all the structures and everything involved in the real estate development, how to find it, how to do skip tracing, how to make sure you have a clean title. But one of the most important things is it shows you how to get the funding off your credit cards and other alternative avenues to get funding, so you're not coming out your pocket out of any money with purchasing the property. And if you need more details, you can contact me directly. It's Black Jew Wealth Coach. And where can they find the book? The book is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Play. It has worldwide distribution. And you can buy it directly off my website or off my Instagram. My website is BlackJew182. Instagram is Black Jew Wealth Coach. I'm just interested by the title, How to Rob the Bank Legally.